On this episode of Your Porch or Mine, I'm sitting with my friend Alex Spitz, entrepreneur, mother, and founder of New Mom School, a woman who turned one of the hardest chapters of her life into something that's now helping mothers across the country. When Alex became a mom, she didn't find what she expected. She found isolation, questions, and a life that suddenly felt unfamiliar. But one room with other new moms changed everything. She realized the problem wasn't her, it was the lack of support. So she built what she wished she had. And today that one small group has grown into a nationwide community built on the belief that mothers were never meant to do this alone. You're listening to Your Porch or Mine, where everyone's welcome to pull up a chair, share their story, and hopefully leave laughing at life's beautiful mistakes. I'm Diana Suarez Mucci, your host and your friend who's ready to listen, right here on Your Porch or Mine.
Alex.
Hi. So good to see you. Welcome to Your Porch or Mine. We were just catching up and I was telling you about that I have a coffee. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's wine. Today it's coffee. It's a little early. It's 12 o'clock here in the East Coast. And you have your favorite iced tea. Tell me about your iced tea fetish.
I did. Fetish. It's never been called a fetish before.
Oh my God. I'm using the word in the wrong way.
Well, I do have an iced tea obsession. I should say I'm a connoisseur of iced tea.
That very well put. Okay, more of an obsession.
Yes, when I moved to Texas and for 2 years, and coffee makes me nauseous. It doesn't agree with me, and I love it. Like, it's like so yummy and delicious, and every once in a while I will go for it. But yeah. I love tea, and iced tea is like my morning coffee. But I'm very particular. So I am the one that is super annoying at the restaurants, and I'm like, do you have fresh brewed iced tea? And they're like, no, it's from the fountain or, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'll do a Coke instead. It has to be fresh brewed.
You're kidding.
Yes, I am a little bit of an iced tea snob. There was this place in Texas. It's actually a franchise. It's called HTO. And it's all fresh brewed and different flavors, but like pure, like peach and blueberry and mint, and you could go and get either sweetened or unsweetened in every flavor, and Georgia peach was my favorite flavor, unsweet.
So I'd love to catch up with you. Like, there's so much happening in your life, and when I see your pretty smile, I think about the first time we met, and I want to go back there. I mean, is it 5 years ago when you walked into, we were in Ojai, and Antoinette was hosting a retreat, and as her mother, I was joining, like, well, let's just see what this is about, and supporting her. And you walked in with your bestie, Ashley.
Yes.
And the rest is history, but I want to hear about it. Like, what brought you there? What was the thing that made you go and you said yes to?
I love that. And I will tell you my story, but then can you tell me what you saw in, like, I'm going to tell you how I walked in and how I felt, and I'd like to know how you saw me. Anyhow, so I have done a lot of individual therapy, and I've done some group therapy, and I had never been on a transformative retreat. I had been on like a relaxing retreat where there was massages and yoga and things like that. But I had never been on one that had been the way that it was described to me. And my bestie, Ashley, we met my freshman year in high school, and she had a girlfriend, Nicole, who had known Antoinette and had done some coaching with Antoinette, and told Ashley about the retreat. Ashley and I both lived in the LA area. Nicole lived on the East Coast. And Ashley was like, hey, I'm going to go to this retreat that Nicole's coach is leading. And I was like, cool, I'm in. I didn't even know. I had no idea what it was about. I thought, some breathing yoga,
Right.
little woo woo. I like the woo. I love the woo. And and so I had my 20-minute consultation with Antoinette and shared a little bit about what I was going through. And it was, so 2021, it was like COVID had been around for about a year. And my business there were times I thought I was closing. I mean, I made it through, but it was wild. My kids were in kindergarten and third grade. And I was really lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my son at the time, he was 9, and he was so challenging, like so challenging. I had never, of course, dealt with a challenging child. This was my first time, and I was broken. I walked in there, and my husband wanted us to move out of California and let the kids like kind of just be in school, and we were in the masks and my kids weren't doing well, and like it really felt like everything was melting down around me. And I'm an empath, so I was so sensitive to everybody's hurt and pain and depression, and like people are like getting divorced left and right, and people are like suffering, and I just was feeling it all. And not to mention like walking into this like group of new women was very intimidating for me. And I remember meeting you and Renee and feeling jealous because, one, I don't have a sister, but two, your relationship with your daughters was so playful. And I loved that.
I love it. And thanks for noticing. As mothers, you invest so much time in your children, and it's kind of paid off for me in a really great way. I like just love and respect them so much, and I find them really interesting and fun. But to answer your question about how I saw you, I saw this young, because I'm so much older, right? I could be your mama.
Yeah, you're ancient.
And and I was like, look at and you're both so young and beautiful. But I also saw maybe the look of not being sure, not being like kind of holding back, almost like you needed your blanket to hold on to. But that change I saw in you walking in, kind of holding that blanket, but you walking away revived, rejuvenated. You had joy. Like I felt like you were so much more joyful, and I don't know. I think maybe all of us left a little different. And anyway, so that's how I saw you, and what a change over the years, just to have to know you and all the things that you're doing and how you're expanding your business. Tell me more about that. Like I wonder because the work I know you've been doing since that retreat, if you want to share like the work that you're doing on yourself, and how does that impact your business and you being an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. So after that retreat, I saw how magical Antoinette is. She just has this special gift of allowing you to just be who you are and not feel any shame around it, and just meeting you where you are. And I felt safe with her. And I hadn't always felt safe with other coaches or therapists or, in a group setting. And it feels very safe. And I think that for myself and other women that I speak to, I don't know that there's a lot of places where we feel safe, like not like physically safe, but emotionally safe. Just be able to say the things and not even think about it. It's like, in our everyday lives, I feel like there's so much like, should I say this? Should I not say this? If I say this, how's it gonna fall for somebody? Like there's a lot of self-doubt and planning and sort of like being unsure of yourself. But there was this feeling of safety, and she offered a group like a continued group coaching. And I was like, yeah, sign me up. I'm in pretty much anything she does at this point, because I always know that I'm going to get something out of it. Like I'm always going to learn more about myself. I'm always going to learn more about others. I'm not going to feel as alone and lonely, right? That's been kind of a theme in my life, is feeling quite alone and different. And when I had my first son, who's now 15 and a freshman in high school, can you believe? Yeah.
Congrats.
When I had my first son, I remember that feeling of isolation and loneliness. And I went through what all new moms go through, don't realize what that postpartum period is going to be like. And I just remember thinking, like, why didn't anyone tell me it was going to be like this? And it was so surprising, because my relationship with my husband really changed when I had Jack. And I was so like, I felt even more lonely, because I didn't feel like we were being supportive of each other. We were both in so much shock, and like we were so stunned by what had just hit our family. And my mom said, you need to join a mom group. And just for like a little bit of context and background, when I was in sixth grade, I was 12 years old, and I had this group of friends, two of which had been my best friends since I was in like a baby. Our moms knew each other. And then there was a few other girls that we had, like we all kind of created a group when we got to middle school. And they all stopped talking to me all at the same time, because one girl created a rumor that I said one of the other girls was fat. And this was my friend since I was a baby. I loved her. Like, I didn't say any such thing, but they all talked to me. And then that like led me on the path of my first very deep depression. And that's when I got diagnosed, was at age 12. And so when my mom said join a mom group, I was like, oh no, a group of women? Oh, hell no. Like, I'm not doing that.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, yes.
But
Understandably so.
I did it because I had no other choice. And that's actually what restored like my faith in the power of sisterhood, which I hadn't had since middle school, basically. And so, and I had met, like Ashley, I had met in high school, and I had a couple friends in high school, but it was not, I had like one friend or two friends and not a group of girls. And so that group, it was very unstructured. The group facilitator was so sweet. She would like, I would say like, she'd give us hugs and offer to hold our babies, but she couldn't answer our questions. Like, right?
Oh, but you had each other. Was that sort of what was?
We had each other. And so after that, I just remember thinking, God, like this is what new moms need. And my mom was 100% accurate. That's what I needed, was a mom group. And then I have dedicated the last 13 years of my life to creating groups for women, new moms.
So I wish I had that. I mean, congratulations on having built such a great organization for moms to meet and to learn more. And you have a curriculum that they follow, that you follow in the program.
Yes.
And I know it's the babies, right? You're doing the newborns.
Yeah. So it's the first year postpartum, because so essentially, you know how it is, you have your first baby and you're like, now what?
Right.
They like, the nurses are wheeling me out of the hospital. I've just had a C-section that I wasn't planning for. I am like, you're letting me take this baby? Like,
what do I know?
I just had this baby 2 days ago. And okay, this was the craziest thing. This is what surprised me. I brought like not regular size clothing, but I brought clothing with me to the hospital, thinking that once the baby was out, I wouldn't have a belly anymore.
Oh.
But you know what it's like.
Oh, I do. You
used to have your pregnancy.
I look like I'm pregnant still. I remember like people are like, oh, when are you doing? I'm like, I just had the baby, you idiot.
Yes.
But it's true. You just, it takes so much healing. Oh my God.
And so I had to go home in the same pants I was wearing when I got there because the pants that I brought didn't fit.
Oh my God.
I needed stretchy pants.
For a long time, at least. For me, I needed them for maybe up to 6 months or 3 to 6 months.
Long time.
Yeah. So that's your first disappointment? You were like, I can't even fit into my clothes.
Yeah. We go home with this baby. They're like, the nurses are wheeling you out. And I always think, like, in their head, they're like, haha, good luck with that. You know?
Oh, gosh. It's true. Did you have like La Leche League come to help you with nursing? Did you nurse?
Okay. I love that you said that. So, yes, I did nurse. So my mom was a La Leche League leader when I was a baby. Yes. And that's why she was like, you need the mom group because it saved her. It wasn't really around anymore. It's like not really a thing anymore. It kind of dwindled. So no, I didn't have a La Leche League leader come to my house, but I did have a lactation consultant that I saw. And there was a place called the Pump Station. Like, shout out to the Pump Station in LA. You guys just have done amazing work. And I went when Jack was a couple weeks old for breastfeeding support group. And that was lovely. Yeah, God, the list of surprises that you go through every day as a new mom. So I just remember in this group with the moms, we all had all these questions, but our facilitator couldn't answer them. And I'm kind of an information junkie, like when I get interested in something. Yeah. So I just started researching and like, I'm going to age myself. I'm 44 now. And at the time, like, internet wasn't what it is now. So I'd go on and I'd Google something and you'd get research articles and medical journals. And I just started realizing there's so much out there. And that's when I started getting really angry. Like, I kind of have this thing where like if the information is there, why are people not getting it? Like, why do we abandon our women in this country?
I know. It's so sad. And I'm so happy that you're like happy for the women of this generation that you made the sacrifice and went through all that you did to build this new mom school. And you had the idea, like it was after that class that you took, right? That new mom, and you started going, oh, and I heard this from you when you did an interview with Motherly, which was great, that you got a little room. You've got a room and you started renting it out and people were coming.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like wildfire because it's so needed.
Yeah.
And like you would like, as a mom, you'd like go, at that time we had Bye Bye Baby and Babies R Us still. And so you'd like go or to Target and you'd go and you'd like be in the baby aisles and you'd like look at the other moms and be like, oh, could I be friends with her? Because you really are just so lonely and you just want someone to talk to that gets it. Because your spouse does not get it.
No, I know. Anyway, I have a lot. My birth story with my children, I was lucky to have my mom and my mother-in-law help me. And Jim just didn't know what to do. I think we were both lost. He was always like, you're breastfeeding, so what am I going to do? Like, and so I was up all night doing the nursing and the changing. And then, I was off for a little while and he had to go to work. And so it did become a lot one-sided until we started having more. And then there was much more to juggle that he started to get it. Like, okay, I'm going to take this off your plate. I'm going to take that off your plate. And he's like, I'm going to do the sweeping, the mopping, the laundry. And so all the stuff that I needed, it wasn't that emotional support as much, or even that it was helpful. I think that what you're doing from an emotional standpoint for moms, what can you share? Like, I'm curious about the curriculum and what is some of the things that you're teaching moms about being a new mom and taking care of their babies? I'm curious, like part of your curriculum.
So I really wanted to keep the program mom focused because I say that we're the nucleus of the family. Like if we're not doing well and we're not having oxygen pumped into us, we're not going to be okay. And we're not. Like I do have to say this, moms are not okay. And this is happening at every age and stage while the kids are young because we're not supported and we don't have that education. You know, we get training and we go to school for everything else in our lives, but not for becoming a parent. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
There's no handbook. Jim and I have always been like, where's the handbook?
Right.
Like, what you expect when you're expecting was the one book that I used. But there's no like guidelines or anything. You just kind of have to trial and error. But
and so we have all the research. Like, we have so much information. Why is it left to individuals to go and find it? Right? It's illegal if your kid is not enrolled in school. Right? It's like, then you have to go to high school and you have to get a high school degree, some kind. It's maybe not a diploma. But you have to legally have some kind of document that you went to school. In order to get a good job, the narrative is that you have to go to college. And then, but then you have to pay for that. But if you don't pay for that, it's believed that you're not going to get a good job. I don't believe that. But this is the narrative that we've all been fed. And then, so then you're like taught what you're like assuming is what you're going to need for real life. And then you get into real life and you don't use any of it, except for the social skills and the emotional part of it. Meanwhile, so many people are coming out of that stage of life emotionally not okay. So there's just like the way that we're doing it right now is not working for humans. And we have proof of that by the mental health crisis that we're in this country. We're in a loneliness epidemic in this country. So I always think about how do we take this research that we have and actually create structured environments that, you know, you can continue your education, not necessarily in like learning math or physics or whatever it is you're studying, but learning yourself and learning. We have all these assessments that humans can take. Why aren't our kids at age 5 before they enter kindergarten? Why are we not assessing how they learn best? And then teaching them how they learn. Is it visually, auditory, hands-on? Like, why are we not grouping kids how they learn best? And then you get rid of all the behavior issues. Anyway, I go on forever about that. But with women, you know, we have research, and I wanted there to be a structured environment that was very high quality. I have high expectations for things that I attend and pay for. The most important part of it is that the moms are grouped together by their baby's birth dates. Because, as you know, one person can have a newborn and another mom could have a 6-month-old. They're in totally different places in their experiences. And being able to sit sandwiched between, because we sit in a circle on these comfortable chairs that are on the ground so that everything you need to do can be done within the circle. The idea is that you never have to leave, so you can learn how to breastfeed without sitting in your setup. You learn how to change a diaper without a changing table. Like, your baby can cry and nobody cares. The best place to be as a brand new mom. And they come when their babies are between 3 and 5 weeks old is when they start. And so the idea was that they can just show up. They don't have to do anything. It takes a lot to put yourself out there and ask one, hey, like, do you want to get together? Or when was your baby born? How are you doing? You know, it doesn't work that way with strangers. Except that when the setting it's almost like Antoinette's retreat. I mean, when the setting is set up in a way where you feel safe to share everything, like you just melt into it.
Right.
And you're able to just be yourself.
And then is there an instructor or just kind of someone who leads?
Yeah, so we have an instructor and they're heavily trained. So they're heavily trained in the curriculum. They're heavily trained in like the demographic of new moms. It's a sensitive time period. I'd argue the most sensitive time period after a woman has her first baby. And so our instructors are very much guided to very much care for the woman where she is and kind of understanding that each woman has a different experience. The fact that your husband was cleaning and mopping and doing the laundry, you're really fortunate because many men are not doing that. They don't believe that they should be. They don't believe that. And so we see a lot of that in our classes. And I can tell you anecdotally that it's probably more common for the spouse to not help than it is for the spouse to help.
That is, I am lucky. I do have to say I'm lucky. And I wonder, it's amazing you're offering this space for them. They're feeling safe. They can share not even just with the instructor, but also with their peers, right? Another mom who's going through the same thing, and they get together later, or they can call each other, and, there's that support. And you mentioned, I think this was in your other interview, that you are still friends with the moms from that mom group that you...
My mom group, yes, we are.
Amazing. That's amazing. And, even for women to kind of talk through, like, if I'm having a hard time even at home with my husband and he's not helping me, like, are there tips for how we get to inspire our husbands to support more?
So the curriculum is all based around research. As I was going through my journey as a new mom and I was going down the rabbit hole, I was finding all this research, and the moms in my group knew that I was really interested in it. So they would start coming to me and ask me questions. They knew they're like, we don't have time to do this. Like, have you figured this out? And so I liked that because it felt like the information that I was coming across was helping me. So I knew that it could help other moms too, especially if it's based in research, meaning like it's not individual to me. I didn't invent the mom group. Whoever did, like, it's actually no one invented the mom group. We're hardwired to be in tribes. We're hardwired to be in community. So this is just how women are meant to live. We are meant to live with other women, and the women are meant to be supporting us emotionally. They're supposed to be the emotional safe space. So if you think back, like, historically, like how the man and woman are, like, we're doing it very differently than is intended. Again, leading to our mental health crisis. We all feel very lonely and isolated from our partners. They're not our emotional support. They can't be. They're not wired for it. All that to say, I started thinking about, okay, I am very, like, intentional, and I think things through ahead. So I'm like, okay. So I structured the groups in a way that the topics that we go through are intentional with which topic when. So, of course, our first class is all about learning about each other. And then the second class is actually learning how to soothe your baby, right? Because, like, most moms, they have these crying babies for hours. What do I do? Why is my baby crying so much? So that's the second.
You have a course about that, like, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So we give tips. The hardest thing is the baby crying and how to soothe the baby. And I think the other hardest thing is the feeding of the baby.
Correct. Yes.
Am I right on that? Because
100% of moms have struggles with feeding baby. We do feeding a little differently because we know that not all moms can or want to breastfeed. And we're so fortunate now, like, there's so many good quality formulas out there that are so close to breast milk that have been studied. So historically, when women breastfed, they were surrounded by community. So they didn't have to do housework. They didn't have to cook meals. They didn't have to take care of their spouses, right? Now we're doing things by ourselves, and breastfeeding is harder and harder and harder. And what mom isn't okay, it's actually more harmful for the baby. So moms are depleting themselves in every area, and then they have to breastfeed, which is physically depleting them.
Mm-hmm.
We have no chance. We have no chance.
Right.
So now we have, formula has sort of caught up, and it's a gift. It's a gift.
It is. It
It
is.
is more important for a mom to be okay than it is for a baby to just have breast milk when the mom is not okay. Like
Right.
it's supposed to be the full picture. It's not just like breast is best and just give your baby breast milk and everything will be fine.
Right.
We are kind of meant to believe that as you
I know. I remember there was such a stigma around if you didn't, and I had my kids age myself way back in the 90s, late 80s and 90s. And so there was always like, my mother was a formula feeder. So she's like, I don't understand how you're not giving your baby formula. And what's this with the breast? I don't get it.
I don't get it.
My mother did not get that. And I was like, well, you know, now they're going back to breastfeeding and this is the way we're supposed to be doing it. And then the La Leche League, which is, they're great and almost militant in the you must breastfeed. This is the best milk for your baby. But you're 1,000% correct, because if you're not in the right mindset and you're not, you know, mentally okay and you're going through something really hard and then you've got the guilt of like, oh my God, the baby's not eating enough, or I'm like having a hard time struggling with the breastfeeding and the baby's always crying, because my mother would say to me, like, the baby's hungry. You realize that, right? And I was like, what? Oh, because they said if I breastfed that the breastfeeding is the best milk and I have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And it was a struggle. It was almost like I was breastfeeding 24/7.
You are. But remember,
hour on the hour.
but remember, like, because that's what the baby needs, except that nobody's actually taking care of what the mom needs.
Right.
So, like, in order for a woman to give all of herself and her breast milk to her baby, she needs to be taken care of in a complete way. And like, it's not like just just feeding breast milk is not the full picture. It's just a piece of the puzzle. And I like to say that I think of it as a system that has to work both ways. Like, if it's not working for baby, the mom stops. If it's not working for mom, the mom should stop, right?
Right.
It's so
Now
much.
you're like, oh no, I have to go to formula. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Mom.
Right.
Like, how did I, you know, like I failed at the breastfeeding. You know, I think that there's such an emotional attachment to that. And like, already moms have guilt. I don't know that it ever goes away though, Alex, the mom guilt. Does it? How's your motherhood changed over the years now that the boys are older?
I do still have guilt. I have different kind of guilt. I think about, like, am I showing up the way that they need it? Or is this gonna help our relationship? Because my ultimate goal is to have good relationships with my kids. Except that in the moment when you're overwhelmed and stressed and you like lose it on them and like, what are you doing? You know, and you like shame them. You're like, oh,
Right.
like I just, damn it. Well, that's not going to help my relationship.
Because you just lost it. I think like I used to seasonally lose it with my kids as they got older. So you're in the stage where they're not babies anymore. And so, you know, and I was always I would cook and clean, and, you know, we had somebody to help us with the cleaning, but, you know, like always wanting to be like present and available and very sweet and like, you know, don't worry, I got this. And then that would happen for 3 months. And then all of a sudden something would trigger me and there would be like one dish too many in the sink, or like ice cream plate over here that wasn't wiped, or shoes that were piled in a corner. And then all of a sudden I'm like, everybody come downstairs. Like, we have to.
This isn't working anymore. I'm going to run away. You guys don't appreciate me.
Yes. Oh my God, you have that speech. I was like, nobody appreciates me in this house. And I just did this. And then they're all like dumbfounded. It's hilarious because they would all look at me and I remember like I was losing it. Yeah. And they would look at me like I was losing it. They're all like, what's going on with Mom? And then they were all quiet and they're like starting to do the thing that I needed them to do. And everyone's like quietly like, okay, Mom. And then they got used to it was literally, I felt like it was once a quarter. Maybe it was three times a year at least, I would lose it.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad doing that. And to this day, they're adults. And they're like, Mom, you remember when you used to lose your shit? And I'm like,
Okay, but they still love you. So that gives me hope. And you have good relationships with them.
Yeah. And I think it's okay you know what I mean? Like, if it's not abusing your children. And sometimes we get overwhelmed. And I feel like mothers, we put a lot on ourselves, a ton of amount of work. And I was working and, the career, and I'm curious how things are going for you because you're expanding your business, which is amazing. I want to hear about that. How do we deal with that? We need an outlet. We need, like what you've done, I think, is a lot of inner work. And, you don't have that support and you blow up. I think, first of all, we're human.
Thank you.
Right? And we get to do that once in a while. I mean, not to be abusive to the kids. I'm not saying that. Like, I'm not saying
like I'm kind of like I'm like in between you and your kids. I was born in 81, but like when I was a kid, and this is still very widespread, like spanking was the way. And my mom, I would say, was kind of progressive. She was on the like attachment parenting train, co-sleeping and extended breastfeeding. She was kind of in that generation that went against the formula feeding mom. Her mom was very, I don't even know if she breastfed her. Like if my grandmother breastfed my mom, I should ask my mom. My guess is no. They grew up in Egypt. So they were actual immigrants. Yeah, my mom grew up in Egypt. But like they like, as young as possible, like they went to boarding school. Like the parents didn't parent really like we parent. And so, of course, there's like so much research and statistics around it and what's good, what's bad. I don't know. Our kids are going to parent different than we do, right? So I think it's just generation to generation. And some thought leader comes out and says, oh, you should feed your kid camel milk now. Camel milk is milk from a camel is what's best for your baby. And someone will write a book about it and it'll go viral on social media.
Oh, right.
That's kind of what happens, right?
Yeah.
We don't necessarily do things that are informed decisions, which this is why I do what I do with my curriculum, is I really make it backed by research and statistics so that moms can make informed decisions. And we don't push any type of parenting. We
not like the gentle parenting movement.
No philosophies, like no parenting philosophies, but I always encourage parenting from a place of empathy. Because what I'll say is that what we all need as humans is to be able to see a perspective from another person's eyes, not judge, just understand. So my inner work, I went off on a tangent, but after Antoinette's, that first retreat that I was on, I continued coaching with her and have done one-on-one coaching with her for years, as well as group coaching, and have been on every retreat and each once a year. And every time I get something more out of it, she'll help me see things from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. She'll help me realize that I'm stuck in my ways because I'm informed. Like there are certain things within the business. So now I'm franchising.
Yes. So, congratulations. That's exciting.
Thank you. So at this moment in time, we have 29 franchisees. And if you think about how dynamic women are, they're all hardwired in their own ways. And they all have their experiences. And what will get very frustrating for me is that they joined the new mom school system and the franchise itself. But like it comes...
You're like the mom of all the moms that are opening. And these are women that are opening up the franchises. Yeah. Are men a part of the...
No, some of their husbands are involved. So like... that I'll be like, it's coming from a place of knowledge, but sometimes what I'm learning is that like people are going to do what they're going to do.
We're almost like parenting because the idea that I watch my kids make decisions, but, as a parent, I'm like, I've already been there, done that. I know that that's not the way. So as a mother of adult children, you have to take a step back and watch them make those decisions. You try to guide them, you have wisdom, and so you want to share, and so you kind of give them a little bit of a roadmap, but then they go and do the thing anyway. The thing that you were like, I don't know if it's right, and they do it anyway, but they learn from it, and this is life.
Sure.
You had your journey, and I think that's a really good perspective. Antoinette is now a part of your organization, right? I think that's really wonderful that you're incorporating her. In what way, and then how is that helping your people?
I love that question. So Antoinette is now our head of culture at New Mom School. We got to a point where there was we were misunderstanding each other's goals between us that work on the support team and the franchisees themselves. Not everyone, of course. And we were hitting some turbulence, and our relationships were starting to deteriorate, and the relationships with them are really a priority for me. I mean, when I went into this, I wanted to help women become business owners. It was such a fulfilling thing for me to own my own business and have that type of, I worked a lot, but I got to choose when I worked. So there was this element of choice and freedom that went into my work. And I really had a passion for it. I have empowered and encouraged and supported and cheerleaded many women over the years from my classes who couldn't see a world where they went back to work in the way that they were working before they had their baby. And so we would brainstorm ideas, and I'm kind of an idea person. I can see things. I have these visions of things that could be. And so I just I can see how we can make the world a better place. And I see in these women, we would talk about their skill sets and what they did and how that could translate into doing something different than they were doing. A lot of these women were traveling 60 or 70% of the time. And you can't do that with a baby, right?
Right. Your corporate career, you mean before they became entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think it's so progressive of you to actually have a head of culture.
Thank you.
I don't think I have heard, there are some corporate, maybe large organizations that have decided that they need that. And I think that one of the biggest challenges in corporate America is that people are not focusing on culture, and that you're not giving the employees what they need to work together better, to be successful. And I think that is really not just progressive, but really wonderful that you care enough about your entrepreneurs, and this is kind of like your extended family. Is a dream that is a reality now, and it's like another baby.
It is. It was so brave of a lot of these women that signed on early in the journey, because we didn't have things figured out. And I can run a studio in my sleep. I know what has to go into running a studio. And then on top of that, there's technology and scheduling classes and administrative work and the burden on the family. And many of our franchisees are having their second and third babies, growing their families, and they have so much going on. And so we really try and support them at every point in their journey, because mom first, it's always mom first.
That's amazing. I mean, honestly, hats off to you. And I'm so excited for this next journey that you're on. This is you're in the middle of it. How many more are you thinking that you're going to open? How many more cities? Are you looking at it from a city perspective, or?
I, of course, would love new moms to just have a standard that they get this after they have their babies, that they get something. We don't have a standard of care after a woman delivers. They have the OB during their pregnancy, and then they have the pediatrician when the baby's born, but the pediatrician is for the baby, right? Pediatricians don't go to medical school for the mom, and the OBGYN is there for the pregnancy. They're not there for postpartum. But the woman in postpartum still needs medical care. It's a combination of medical and mental health care. And we're missing that. Like there's a gaping hole when it comes to what women are needing continuously. So new mom school is that continuum of care after they leave the OBGYN. And I say woman intentionally because like we are physiologically, biologically women and have a baby and the title is mom, but like we are a woman.
Right.
An individual woman.
Right. We don't lose that part.
We don't lose that part, but it is ignored. It is.
Right. Well, I love the idea, like, and I know we're coming on time. Is there something that you are doing to bring this to light in maybe in the state of California, like start in one state at a time or one city? Is that happening?
At the moment, I am focusing on creating the strongest communities where they already exist. My goal would be to get I always say, like, in order to make change, you have to start privately. And so right now we're private pay because that's just, it has to be there. And our classes are full. Like women need this. So what I envision happening is that we will continue to spread the word, and I will continue to speak on podcasts, and whoever will have me, I will continue to speak. And over time, I know that we will get connected in the right places that will be able to make some kind of change. I think that the initial goal will be that there'll be some kind of insurance reimbursement. Maybe it's not like in network, but maybe there's some kind of voucher for it or a tax write-off, or like something will happen that can make it there can be at least some kind of subsidy for it. And anything that is worth it takes so much time and so much effort. And so I really feel like we're just getting started. We're just laying the groundwork right now.
Yeah. And right away, I think I go to what happened with infertility, and now infertility, IVF is becoming more and more supported by companies. So it could start with an organization or corporate America where they would provide it as a benefit to attract employees and women that they're like, well, listen, if you have a baby, not only are we going to pay for your maternity leave, which has improved over the years. I had 6 weeks and now people have 4 months, which is amazing. Women, so it's getting there.
Not paid. That's the challenge. They get some unemployment depending on what state they're in.
Oh, right.
And companies over a certain threshold have to keep their jobs. Some companies pay, but do not. And many women have to go back to work at 2 weeks.
Oh my God. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah, that something has to change. And I know you're doing it one mom at a time. And I am so proud of you, proud to know you. I am so happy for you. It's not easy what you're doing. And all of the years, just in the short time that I've known you, I've seen a transformation and I've seen the growth in you. And even the growth, I was saying this to you earlier, like the work that you're doing internally, that work, I see that coming through. And it's almost like the work that you're doing internally, you see the growth in you as a person, the growth in your organization, and the desire that you have to help people. It's just, I love you. You're phenomenal.
I like that you're focused on the inner work, because I will say that's been at the forefront as a collection of all of these challenges that women go through. I'm a victim, right? Not a victim mentality, but I'm a victim of a lack of support and a lack of structured support. And I had to find the information on my own. And so I'm a seeker, but many people aren't. And so I am wanting to share resources. And, that's why Antoinette is on board right now, because there is a need. All these women are now business owners. And as business owners, there's a heightened level of overwhelm and stress and responsibility. And I think everybody needs a therapist, but everybody needs someone like Antoinette that can allow them that safety, that emotional safety to express the things that they're feeling that they probably feel ashamed by or guilt. And so because the relationships are so important to me, I wanted her to create that space for everybody. And she's a neutral party. She's not like on board to like just support me. She's on board to help these women. I mean, she's doing coaching groups and she's giving to them what I had the benefit of and what I had the gift of. And that's what I wanted for them.
I haven't been to or met any of the women that you work with now that are franchisees, but I'm sure they're, really enjoying the benefit of what you bring to the table, like giving them that foundation so they can be successful. And you're providing that benefit, like of bringing someone as a coach for them. So
yeah.
I love it. I love it. One last thing, and we're just going to call it one last sip for us.
Do it.
Here's me with my one last sip. What advice would you give to a new mom who just had their baby and is lost?
Yes. That it's temporary, that it will not be like this forever, even though it feels like it will be like this forever. That you are still who you are, and you are now you're becoming, right? You're not lost. You're becoming. You won't ever go back to the version of you before you had your baby, but you are now an elevated and more expanded version of yourself. Your heart has doubled, tripled, quadrupled with love and emotion, and that the pressure to know, like there's this like, oh, your mommy instinct will kick in. Not really. There is a learning curve and there is education out there. And I invite the moms on the first day to not pretend like they have it all together and not pretend they know what they're doing. So as a new mom, show up as a student, show up as the first day of a new job. Invite all of that training and knowledge and information in. You're not supposed to know what to do. You're not.
Wow. That is great. Great advice. Well, I wish I had new mom school and you when I was being a new mom, but it's so great to know you, that you're doing this for so many women. And women even ask me as a grandmother now, I feel like I can mentor moms that are going through their own challenges, and even like high school and whatever it is, whatever stage, I have a little bit of wisdom that I can share. And even in my own world of storytelling, because I'm a storyteller and a writer, and I have a children's book, The Snuggle Winks of Cuddleton Falls, is a nap time and bedtime series. And one of the things that I have shared for my other moms that have asked me, like, oh, how did you do it and all that, I think one of the things that we're missing today is that time to snuggle, that time for reading, that time to sing a lullaby, that quiet time that you can. I think all of the frenzy that moms go through in the beginning, it's not perfect. And sometimes there are babies have colic, but if you can find that little time with them to read to them in whatever age and sing to them, it's what was for me such a saving grace for myself with my kids, and my grandmother did that for me a lot. So I do want to invite the moms to spend time, quiet time, and not to rush through it. Because a lot of times you're like, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I've got a million things to do, and you throw the baby in the crib and you run out and the baby's screaming and crying, and it's just like, take a pause and use that little space to have that moment, and it becomes a beautiful ritual, and that these are memories that will be treasured for always. And I invite that for your moms in the new mom school to make sure to, maybe I'm going to drop off the books. That's what I'm going to do. Like, I would just
I love that idea.
Yeah, I will do that. I will send you just to maybe as a gift for a few of your moms, your new mom school openings, but to share with the new moms to take the time to do that.
Are you doing a book tour? Are you what are you doing with your
I haven't done the book tour yet. I'm still working in corporate America, so I'm doing that still, which is affording me to do the other things that I love to do still. But it is on my radar. It's going to be one day at a time, but maybe doing some libraries and then going to the bookstores. But I think that's my next step. And no matter what, just keep busy, do what you love, and all of this will come like what you did. You're doing what you love, you're doing what you're passionate about, and good things will come from that. You're leaving behind a legacy. I mean, you're creating a legacy as you walk this earth. And I think legacy is so important. And you're leaving a really big mark on this planet. You really are, Alex.
Thank you for saying that. It's not something that my inner voice tells me. I mean, my inner voice says really mean things to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You could be saving someone from deep depression for postpartum. You can be saving the baby from having a mom who's not mentally stable, or not mentally stable, is not the word, mentally sound or strong.
Thank you.
If today's conversation made you laugh, think, or just breathe a little easier, share it with someone you love. Catch the podcast wherever you listen and follow me on Instagram for more. Remember, the porch is always open and there's always a spot for you.